Live from YMSL Studios. Welcome to the Doug Less Report regular season finale. I'm your host Bobby Morabia with NRJ and Sabon Salomon. And what a show we got tonight, guys. Yesterday, an unbelievable regular season came to a close, and now the real season begins. And fortunately and unfortunately, one of you guys is going home for the postseason, and Sabon, a nice last couple of weeks. You bought yourself a bye in the postseason.
I needed it. Let's just put it that way. We came out very weak yesterday. I had to change my pitcher very early in the game. But this is why I became a good skipper over the last year, because I was able to pick up these odds and end guys to come through. And like I've said many times on the show before, if there's puzzle pieces dangling around, I will be there to pick them up. And if it's going to be a Buabe or a Moses or an Edmund Dweck, which I cannot pick up due to the carcass eating festivities, I think we did an excellent job determining to get these guys. And I told them how important I told them how important it was to get this bye. We did not want to play July 4th. We did not want to play Friday evening. We wanted to rest. We all needed, and we cruised and got the big 2 wins.
Well, coming into this week, obviously the winner of that series was going to get the second bye, the winner of that doubleheader yesterday. Incredible football scores yesterday. I mean, 15-9, 20-14.
Right.
Wow. Your offense, when it's clicking, is outright scary,
yeah.
And yesterday proved it. The unknowns, we're going to talk about them a little later, but they just really have fallen apart at the seams. Lost 6 out of 8, and the only 2 wins was against Dallas, so they're really struggling, and a lot of turmoil within the organization. But yesterday, again, you and Allie just putting up monster numbers back-to-back, and Max Sutton leading the league in homers with 4. But again, the big question with your team, you finally made the move to bring in Moses. I guess Moabe really got it to a shaky start. He put you in a 6-0 hole rather quickly, yeah. And so now the big question everybody in the media is going to be asking is what's going to happen when the first round of the playoffs start. But overall, were you happy with Moses' performance yesterday?
You want to know something? I wasn't. He did not win the game 20-15. He gave up 15 runs that first game, and that's a disaster. But like you said, we totally ripped the ball to shreds batting yesterday, and I want to make mention that most of the team contributed, and Allie had 3 singles. You know what I'm saying? So that just goes to show you what kind of team we have the potential of being when Allie has a couple of walks and 3 singles and no ribbies or anything like that, and every other guy on the team was totally killing the ball. So,
well, we always said from day one, this team, if it starts to click, even after the big injury they had to Hakeem, this team's offense is unstoppable if they're going to start to hit. Now you throw in the fact that someone like Joey Buabe is going to go 5 for 6.
Yeah.
My brother,
Ralph Hannon too. It's not like, we had a gimme game like Abie Saka's team playing Dallas too, facing Sammy Sutton with one hand covered in Vaseline and the other one with the number to some guy from Ombre in South Beach. We faced Hannon, and they needed the bye too, and they were going out there hungry. They took a big lead on us.
Right, Boston, the first touchdown was scored by the unknowns.
Right.
I went, what?
YMSL record, we checked status, 14 runs in an inning is YMSL, modern day YMSL
Unbelievable.
record.
How about this for a record? 3 homers in that inning, including a grand slam
Bob Jemal.
by yours truly.
Bob Jemal
with a beautiful line drive homer. And I'll tell you another thing, Douglas Dweck could have had the 4th homer, but he was not paying attention when he had a stand-up triple and their relay missed the cutoff man, and he was just too busy kissing
He's too
his
busy
own
already
ass.
patting his stats, telling everyone how good he is
and
right.
how he's not over the hill and all this stuff.
By the way, in that inning, Max scored the first, right? He hit the first home run to make it 6-3, or right, 6-3.
Let me tell you what the scenario there. Max his homers this year were bombs, every one of them.
Well, with his speed, they have to be.
Right. I mean, he's got to hit him 450 just to get the second standing, you know, and not trip over the seat, or Moses for that matter. Anyway, I saw how shallow the left fielder was playing, and I looked at him. I stopped. I actually called timeout and went up to him and said, "Max, the left fielder's 50 feet behind the shortstop."
Who plays left for them?
Murray Zolta.
Okay.
I said, if Hannon gives you a first pitch lob it, you just blast it, and he did. And he, you know what? It would have been a homer anyway, but he literally hit it 100 feet over the guy's head. So it was great. And once that happened, Hannon was like beside himself, and the floodgates open. I mean, every guy got solid hits, doubles, triples through the middle. They kept walking alley. I came up after that with bases loaded. Grand slam, just into, you know.
Well, you know, I think that's going to be a theme throughout the playoffs. Alley's probably going to be walked almost every other at bat.
Well,
I don't know if you can do that with this team.
Well, let me just point out
type of thing, but
this number after walking him.
9 RBIs by someone named Salomon Michael.
That's right.
9 RBIs. But by the way, down 6-4, it wasn't Sabon or Abie that was up.
It was Mr. Jemal.
It was Mr. Jemal.
And I'll tell you something. The shot he hit was a beautiful line drive homer, again past the left fielder on a fly, probably landed 25 feet past the guy down the line and just rolled and stand-up homer. I mean, easy.
By the way, Bob Jemal is the first Jemal to ever have finished the season when the first digit was a 4 in the batting average.
Wow.
Well,
actually,
claims he went 1 for 2 one
Ike Jemal.
The Ike Jamal is with a G. It's different.
Right,
no relation. That's a talent Jamal. But really, Bob coming into his own in defense and in offense.
Yeah.
And he's going to start hitting. You guys are really going to be outright scary. Again, the pitching is going to be your only question mark going forward, because I don't believe in 2015 games in the playoffs.
You're right. Neither do I. But with all of this being said, and all the commentary about how bad my pitching's been all year, look where I'm sitting right now.
Yeah.
You have the bye right now, but like a different pitcher that will remain nameless from a different team said, who's going to start in the playoffs? Do you want the guy that gave up 14 runs, or you want the guy that gives up 70 walks? Right.
You know what? The numbers don't lie, and we're going to see who we face, and I'm going to look back at the history of that game and see. I mean, obviously, I don't have much history on Moses other than the fact that he gave up 30 runs and we scored 50.
Right.
That is an anomaly. But the other guy, Morabia, had a lot of tight games, even with the walks.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just going to have to see. I'm hoping the bye week we all can rest up, and we'll.
And is there any chance? There's a rumor going around from Sherman Avenue that Douglas DeWeck may get the start. Is there any possibility?
You know what? If Moses eats Morabia and he's too full to come to the game, there's a very good chance that Douglas may get the start. But as of right now, I don't see it.
Sabon has the best offense in the league and the best bullpen in the league.
Yes.
They just got to work on that rotation, and they're good to go.
Got a lot of depth. And,
meanwhile, the bigger story in this game, not to take away from these guys, is the unknowns continue this downward spiral. The second half of 8 games, they went 2-6. Like you said, those only 2 wins were against that Dallas team, and the unknowns may be the team, and we're going to get to the press conference later, but they may be the team that Abie Saka chooses to play.
All right, we'll find out. But as a matter of fact, we got to call Eddie from Takara K. Eddie, you're on the air.
Ni hao.
Hey, how's it going?
I'll have a spicy tuna on. All right. How are you, Eddie?
Well, beautiful. Can't complain.
All right, good.
Everything's good.
We're just analyzing your team, performance yesterday, and you won by a couple of touchdowns. And what do you think of the pitching situation for the playoffs?
Oh, pitching situation on the playoffs. Wow. I'm going to let my captain discuss that, but I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. Moses did a great job, but he did let up a bunch of runs, after I had left the field that day yesterday. But, Jackie's still a solid pitcher. He just walks a lot of guys, and hopefully he's practicing.
Imagine you give up 29 runs and they say you did a great job.
Well, I mean, I don't know if the reports got back to anyone, but I was going absolutely.
He doesn't come down. He's not behind on the batters
I
There was
agree.
a lot of errors on the infield.
Let me tell you something. My defense this year has been pretty solid all around. I mean, a few errors from a few guys. Yesterday, it was atrocious. My third baseman could not make a throw. He made every play, he cannot make a throw. Max made a few major errors at shortstop. Up the middle, there was a few errors. Second base, a few errors. No errors.
Notice
at the
nothing at
corner.
first.
Nothing at first.
First base, I heard is making diving scoops. There would have been 10 more errors if not for the first baseman.
There was definitely at least 4 successful scoops by terrible throws yesterday at first, and that'll clean up. I mean, I think it was just a hot day, and I'll tell you something. You guys are sitting here killing the unknowns, but they scored 30 runs yesterday.
Yeah.
We just outscored them. They have unbelievable hitting.
No, they definitely do. But again, Ralph Hannon seems to have fallen apart, and now the big question is mentally, how's he going to handle this? He walked off the field yesterday.
Yeah, what exactly happened there? We got different.
He was pissed off. Someone was yelling at him about not running and taking it out to first base or something like that.
Here's what happened.
He walked off the field and gave up on the game.
He hit a very hard line drive right to the shortstop. He dropped it. Hannon stopped dead in his tracks thinking he was going to catch it. The guy dropped it. It went a couple feet behind him. Everyone started screaming. Easy throw from short to just nail him at first. But his team went nuts on him.
I know Daniel Tal and Joe Chiura gave him a piece of ripped into him.
Yeah.
And he was upset. He walked away. He goes, I'm out there busting my butt, facing 20 batters an inning or whatever. And he walked off. And Jordy Romel brought him back, and hopefully that they can resolve that. But
Well, how you guys scored on legitimate hits, or was their field a mess, or what was going on?
I can't even
There was a lot
remember.
of legitimate hits.
I can't remember them making.
Some errors.
I can't remember them making that many errors. We really hit the ball hard. We just
Yeah.
a couple balls went through shortstop, hard hit balls. The infield was a little hard, but Jordy's there. I mean, what are you going to say? He's not a good fielder. He's good, But was there bad throw? I'll tell you one thing. That first baseman made a couple nice scoops on some bad throws. We just hit. Everybody hit.
Yeah,
but you're saying, Ralph saying I'm busting my butt and everything. He gave up
I know. Well,
35 runs in 2 games.
But he also claimed a lot of it was errors. So we really.
That's why I'm asking the question. I mean,
I can't believe you had 52 unearned runs yesterday, but he was at it with a couple. Let's not forget to mention it was a blistering hot day yesterday, and so he was out there. You're facing 15, 20 batters an inning. It's going to take a toll on you.
Right.
And so now that team's got to get it figured out. I mean, they went from being we're talking about undefeated to they didn't even get a bye. And
they were 8-0, and they didn't get a bye. It's amazing.
Now they're the 4th seed, so.
Yeah, and then RJ said it was inevitable that they were going to lose like this.
Yeah. I mean, when they were 8-0, I made the statement that they're the most overrated 8-0 team I've ever seen in my life.
Absolutely.
And
they make a lot of weak teams in the beginning.
they took it very personally. They made it like I was bashing them. I thought they were a playoff team, which is debatable now, but I thought they were a playoff team, just not an undefeated, epic team that we're going to hear about for many years.
And had they not got that break last week when Nathan Tal stepped on a ball for the
Exactly.
they would have lost that game, and who knows what would happen in game 2. But I mean, so that team's, they're going to, now they got a first round opponent. They're going to see who they're playing, and they got to get it figured out very quickly. Eddie, thanks for the call, and we look forward to seeing you in the field.
Absolutely,
Okay.
I love coaching that third base.
Okay, you do a great job.
Eddie, we're still awaiting our guest passes at the new restaurant. We plan on having a live show there and complimentary dinner and cocktails. When would we be invited to this?
The day it opens, you guys got the free pass. Come on down.
Thank you.
And when is that? We'll be putting it in our calendar. Oh, and by the way, I have a large family.
Host and co-hosts only, free.
Gotcha.
We'll be there.
Have a good one, guys.
Thanks a lot.
Good luck. By the way, he mentioned coaching third base. My brother swears he could have had a second home run, but Eddie Hakeem held him up. Yeah.
By the way, let's talk about our itinerary for tonight. We're going to review, obviously, yesterday's incredible action, the end of the regular season. And then we're awaiting Abie Saka from the third place Fountain of Yoots. He's going to be coming to, we're going to have a live press conference over at the Ocean Place Hilton to not only announce the opponent for the first round.
I believe the chopper is taking him over there right now.
Yes. If it's not too windy, otherwise Red's Impala service is going to be taking him there. And after that, we're also going to have a press conference announcing the All-Star team for Wednesday's showdown versus the AA BKS League. So a lot of stuff and a lot of exciting things.
Yeah, I'm going to look forward to that segment because I hear there's a lot of trash talk going on from some of their players. And we'll get into that a little later.
Considering half the players, I think, are former YMSL guys.
All right.
But so let's get back to let's first of all let's talk about the teams that did not make it.
Sure.
We have Norman's Project X, which came in needing a minor miracle yesterday and did not receive it.
All we needed to do was sweep the Twins, which should not be considered a minor miracle, and then hope that Insane just split with the Marlins, who are our first place club
by default.
Which they did by default. Who knows what really would have happened? But my team really, very, very disappointing. A roster like that, I thought should have been better. We had what is considered one of the top tier pitchers in the league. He's not Abie Saka. He's not Jeffrey Saka. Okay, but maybe he's better than every other pitcher in the league on talent alone. But unfortunately, we were unable to get it done. We were up 4-3 late in the game. And there were 2 outs, and Jimmy Malak was up. Before that, 2 of the guys that were on base were walked. One of them was Jackie Towell. Another one was the bottom of the order guy earlier in the inning. Jimmy Malak came up with the bases loaded, 2 outs, their team trailing 4-3 late in the game. And we went to 4 outfielders. Once we did that, Jimmy put a line drive right up the middle, a ground ball up the middle where the short center fielder would have been. And because the outfielders were so deep, 3 runs scored. So nobody said it was the wrong move when we went to 4 outfielders. I didn't think it was the wrong move. I thought it was okay. But in retrospect, what happened was we gave him a triple, bases clearing triple on a ground ball, where if we only went to 3 outfielders, he'd still have to kill the ball to get the same result. So
it was a good piece of hitting by Jimmy Malak.
Good piece of hitting.
Great hitter, I might add.
By the way,
hitter, and
had a monster offensive year. His on-base percentage is close to 700. He's just a hitting machine. Basically, the big thing with your team, obviously, was a lot of questionable picks by Maurice.
Well, we discussed this from week 1. I mean, look at the numbers. I mean, no telling that they could have had the same numbers on a different team, but picking Max Yedid and Zolta when he could have had Jordy, who, by the way, is phenomenal, and Abie Cohen. That makes a difference there. 2 guys, one guy, batting 500 and, leading the league in hits, and the other guy, up there too on a first place team. Terrible picking by him.
And again, you lost a lot of heartbreakers, so a couple of those wins would have went. Those losses
but the team also needs a group trip to like the Shrink or something. Once we're trailing 6-4, it's like 16-4. So there were some good, parts of the team, but we just got too down when we were down. We got too crazy.
I'd like to mention one thing. I just got this in from the network that a Douglas Dweck said to mention to NRJ that if your brother hustled and listened to him instead of looking at the ball he just hit, he would have had the homer. He said he's not that experienced in getting past first or second to know what to do when he gets the ball.
By the way,
but Douglas is in the same exact boat, according to you. He also could have had a home run if he wasn't
definitely could have
kissing his own ass.
He probably strained his neck trying to reach his own ass.
So the other team we're going to talk about is that didn't make it is the Twins, which to me was the biggest disappointment of the 2012 season. A lot of us in the media had him picked to be, World Series bound. Obviously, a lot of guys had off years, and you talk about a team that's dysfunctional. That was by far the biggest disappointment I feel this year, and with a 4-11 record. it was just a mess this whole year. And I mean, they had the talent was there. Meyer Safdie pitched, much better than anybody anticipated, and just a major disappointment.
You have a team where Meyer pitches well. The defense is decent. Eddie Michon, Jimmy Malach, Jackie Tao. There's no reason that team should end with 4 wins.
I agree, because if you look at someone like my team, how do you explain that we didn't have the pitching and we had a great record?
Right.
Yeah.
And you know what? We had comparable hitting.
Yeah.
The 3, 4, 5 that they have is 7 or 8 notches under what me and Allie did, but
By the way, I want to have a very special shout out to the Dallas team. An awful season. I mean, really, just a dreadful.
That's the special shout out.
3-13. But I want to say this on the air to Nathan Towell, to Jack Haddon, Henry Shalom, and the rest of the gang. They had nothing to play for yesterday, yet 11 guys showed up on that team and played their hearts out, and they lost 2, but still, I guarantee any other team in the league would not have been able to field the team with nothing to play for. And they did it for the integrity of the league, and that's why you have veterans. The only one that didn't show up was a rookie, Ben Mann, and he's going to be reprimanded from the league. He called in sick.
Mm-hmm. We'll change his name to Ben Lady.
So I wanted to get that out.
That's the cleanest joke Sabon ever told. It's like,
I want to get that out before we go. And we have Jordy calling from Oakhurst.
Before we talk to Jordy, 1 second. The YMSL computer crew wants people to tweet in who would you pick if you were Abie Saka, and you could pick between Jordy's unknown team, the Mabadef squad, and Insane. So tweet them to @YMSL Softball. Who would you pick and why?
All right, Jordy, you're on the air from the Struggling Unknowns organization.
Hey, what's going on, guys?
You tell us.
Speak up, caller.
I gotta tell you, we have been falling apart. We got a huge break last week by getting that win and then taking the second game. But I gotta give it to Sabon. I mean, they played the hitting was phenomenal. We couldn't catch a break. It moved up the middle. They hit it to shortstop. It was shortstop. They hit up the middle. The hitting was just not normal yesterday. It was everything: home runs, triples, doubles, bug plays. Ridiculous, but I'd never seen him play that well.
Neither has anybody else.
Neither has he. Jordy, what's going on with your pitcher? He walked off the field. You had to go and get him.
Listen, it was a very hot day. Everyone was just very heated after, going up 6. I think this was a big mistake for our team. We were up 6 and we thought we had the bye and the win already. And I tried to keep telling everyone, listen, it's a long day to bail out. And, Ralph was just getting very frustrated. He's in the field for a long time. Everyone blaming each other. But to tell you the truth, I was a little concerned, but I think when playoff time comes around, people are going to start, better attitudes, and I really think when push comes to shove, our team is going to play great, actually.
So do you think your team can turn it around in a short period now and get the
100%. 100%. And I kind of listen, after playing with Rupert last year, I realized that it comes down to playing the playoffs. And it's not good momentum going into the playoffs, but I think we really can turn it around. I think Ralph's a great pitcher. The first time he's blown up all year, everyone kept telling me, shouldn't have picked this guy. He blows up all the time. He gets very heated. He likes playing with this young team. And I think that we're all going to come to the field. Murray and Richter, they cooled down a little bit, but Sabon said, we scored 30 runs or so. It's not like we didn't hit the ball. We were hitting. Mark Richter and Murray definitely getting back on their game. And when Ralph comes around, I think we're going to be playing phenomenal.
Jordy, how much do you think the inexperience of your team will be a factor going into the playoffs? There's no doubt you have a great lineup and a very good pitcher and a lot of good hitting and everything, but you have a lot of new guys that are, that had great seasons, but now when the pressure's on, are they going to perform like when you were 8-0 or the second half of the season? What do you really think there?
Listen, I'm going to say it again. I'm not just saying it because, I'm trying to make my team sound good. I honestly do believe it. I left the field in good spirits the other day. I wasn't happy, I had a good game, but it's just a team game. It just doesn't work like that. But I honestly think
Well, I beg to differ with that statement. So we'll be taking the next call.
Jordy, which team of the 3 teams that you could play, which team do you think you match up best against? Who would you want to play between Fountain of Yoots?
I think actually my father. I know they hit great, but I think our team really hits Mikey very well. I wouldn't mind playing Shane either, but I'd like to stay away from Abie Saka. Listen, I like hitting Abie, but our team didn't seem to play too well against them, so.
No, anyone that played him in the second half didn't play too well against him. I think if things turn out the way I feel, I think you're going to end up playing Mikey in the first round. But we'll see in the press conference coming up.
About that. One thing, I think people still, don't want to play us so much, but we do have a good lineup.
Yeah, I think this still could be dangerous. There's no question that team is that.
I still think we're very dangerous. That's the truth.
I mean, you did average the first 8 games 11 runs a game, and yesterday you did put up some big numbers, but. We'll see what happens if you guys can get it back together like you did earlier in the year. And Jordy, good luck in the postseason. We hope to hear from you soon.
All right, thank you, Bobby.
All right.
Good call. There's no doubt this team is dangerous, but they're all over the place right now. The question is, can they get it together for the playoffs?
You know what? I had a very good look at them at the biggest week of the season so far, and no doubt they have a very stacked lineup. And they have a very good pitcher, and they got a good team, but I think the inexperience is going to cause them to crumble.
Even Joe Chira, I mean, he's only 21, 22 years old as a rookie captain. And Kornman as a veteran, he's a catcher. It isn't bad. I don't know if he how much weight he's going to carry as far as leadership. So they're going to really have to dig in themselves and get themselves. And Jordy's a veteran. He could keep the team together, but
by the way, Jordy ended at 527 for the year. He went 7 for 8 yesterday.
Yeah, outstanding year, especially playing shortstop.
A lot of it depends who they play.
Yeah.
I mean, Insane does have experience compared to what you had a great point that they have no. Most of them don't have a lot of postseason experience in the YMSL,
or any. Half of them didn't have YMSL experience.
Right.
They're 2 of their 3 main guys, actually 4. Have not played in the league before.
Right.
So what's it going to be like staring at Abie Saka in the playoffs?
Jeffrey Saka,
or Jeffrey, or Moses with a piece of chicken hanging out of his teeth. Something like that. I don't think they're going to want to see any of that.
Once again, the number is 7325 YMSL 55. You can see the lines are lighting up, and we're going to talk about who we think Abie Saka is going to pick, and my opinion is I feel he's going to go with the safe pick and the safe pitcher, which is going to be Mikey Salomon, and he's still I don't know if you want to go up against Mo Shama, especially if Leo's pitching good. They have a great defense, and again the unknowns are still dangerous. So I think they're going to take Malbadif.
I think a few weeks ago, if the playoffs started 3-4 weeks ago, he would have taken Malbadif for sure. I think they started clicking towards the end of the year. They're very confident. John Eliezer, major addition to that team, brought the whole infield together. Mikey Salomon seems to have brought it together as well. Big Soul, he's having a phenomenal year. I don't know about that. I think that he's going to go with Insane, just from talking to some people on the Fountain of Yoots team.
I think Norman's right, because it actually matches up better for his team. Not a ton of offense from both sides, but I will have you know that offensively, the thing that changed the Fountains of Yoots was the phenomenal deal that Abie brokered, getting David Harari and getting rid of Mr. Carcass himself, Edmund Deer Eater Dweck.
It changed the team. Eli Harari has brought it together in the last few weeks. But I don't think Abie would be nuts to pick the unknowns. They're okay, fine. They were a first place team. They ended horrible.
I mean, I see your point there, but they have a lot of offense.
Yeah.
I mean, really, come on. Okay, we scored 30-something runs yesterday, but am I counting on that down the road? Absolutely not.
But when they played Abie, he shut them out.
Yeah, he dominated them.
That's
he
why
dominated them.
Well, yeah.
But I'm sure. I think he. I think he did Insane twice.
It's a very tough call. Again, he's coming in an 8-game winning streak. and Malbada 6 out of 8. So
a lot of sports bureaus telling us he split with Insane when he played Insane. So
Yeah.
It's a tough call, but they played them very early in the year.
Yeah.
ABC was a different team back then.
So yeah, I guess we're all different. I guess I don't know. I just feel the playoffs are going to go with the pitcher you think your team can hit the most. And but again, we always said that Malbada's his lineup is very dangerous. By the way, there was a sighting yesterday of former Malbada player Gabe Abie.
Really?
Yeah, Gabe Abie was in town and
From the
he was
Mexican
All-Star break. Yeah, the
Mudcats,
Mexican
right?
League had an All-Star break, so he was. In
I heard
town.
he gave an exclusive interview to YMSL Deportes.
And he went to see some of his teammates, and they said Gabe Hood, and he was not happy about that.
Gabe K, I think that was the exact term. And I believe he was wearing an Eliezer jersey around the field. But, that we'll leave that for the...
By the way, if Eliezer is going to hit like he did the last week, which he's certainly capable of, they're going to be extremely, extremely dangerous. So we'll see how that, whoever picks them, is it's going to be interesting. So we have a call coming in, international call from the Gaza Strip.
Wow.
Jamile.
Hey, Bobby. Hey, Mike.
Hey, how are you?
Hey, Jim.
Great season.
Yeah, unfortunately, you're going to be playing a lot of golf over there in coming weeks. Tell us what your thoughts were at 2012. Not a very good year for the Twins organization.
Look, it was a great year for the league. Unfortunately, it wasn't a great year for the Twins. A lot of hard-fought games that didn't end up in our favor. But at the end of the year, we had a good season. I'm sure the league, turned out great. We didn't have any rainouts from May on, so that was good. But what are you gonna do with the walkouts, man? That's the season goes.
Well, you personally had a phenomenal year. You're in league leaders. I think you were second in batting average at 605. You led the league in on-base percentage. You led the league in walks. You had a ton of ribbies. You were across the board, had a phenomenal year. But it's hard to believe a team with your roster could end so poorly. I know there are a lot of walk-offs, but it's just... I saw you guys yesterday. You guys are not a bad team.
No, we're not. Obviously, you saw us yesterday. We weren't so bad. We were in every game, and then after that, I saw a lot of the players like Sammy Towell, Mason Towell. I spoke to Sabon and Ali. They all told me that if they had the choice to pick us in the playoffs, they wouldn't have picked our team. I spoke to unknowns. They all told us like, Jim, your team, no chance we're picking your team if we had the choice. Because we all gave every game we were in it. We were winning in the 7th inning or later. We just couldn't hold the lead. And Meyer pitched well. Our defense was phenomenal this year. It's just hitting. You can't win softball games with scoring 0 or 1 run.
Do you think Meyer could be a serious pitcher in this league going forward, or is it a one-and-done deal?
Absolutely, no questions about it. The guy is such a good pitcher. The field behind him, we're on our toes every pitch because he knows he's not going to walk anybody. He just delivers the quick pitches. He just once he gets the ball from Elliott, just likes to pitch the ball right away. I think the guy is just going to be Saka or one of those guys. He has some speed. He got some heat, and I'm sure as he gets more experience in the pitching, he'll throw some fastballs or whatever, work on his repertoire and everything.
By the way, I think JT, a lot of his moves after the draft really backfired. From the Edmund trade for David Harari, gave him up.
Yeah.
Then he picked up
the guy had 20, 30, whatever.
28 RBIs, which I think is almost as much as your team had. Not too far off.
He had as many RBIs as we scored runs all season.
That's what I mean, yeah.
Obviously, but look, nothing with Edmund Dweck. He played stellar defense. We took his glove, and look, it just didn't pan out. Our moves, obviously, they hurt us. At the time, they were what we were supposed to do. We were 3-1, riding on a hot streak. We didn't think we were going to end the year 1-12. Doing 12.
Wow.
But look, we had to do what we had to do at the time. But obviously, it hurt us. It came and strike us in what.
Yeah, it definitely was not a good year, but I think obviously next year is a new year, and I'm sure we're going to have the announcement later for the All-Star roster for Wednesday's matchup, and I'm sure it'll be interesting to see if you made the team. And Jimmy, thanks a lot for the call, and we look forward to hearing from you soon.
Thank you guys. I wish you guys well. I hope all the playoff teams good luck, and I'll definitely be back next year. So to play even better, hopefully I'll make the playoffs.
All right,
Thanks,
you.
Jim.
Thanks for calling.
Jimmy, by the way, on a non-playoff team, so it may affect the voting, but he's up there with a couple of guys from Sabon Sanity and as a possible MVP candidate this year with his stats. But
Obviously, very distraught that Jimmy Malak. You can tell in his voice.
Right. I mean, you gotta wonder if he's gonna strap a couple grenades to himself and run into the press conference later. Maybe, you know, like a disgruntled ex-Brooklyn player coming to the YMSL as like an undercover type guy. But you know what? I just want to point out something that I was a pick away from having this guy in my lineup. I mean, during the draft, that's the guy I wanted. I mean, I ended up with Max and absolutely no complaints, but it would have been nice to maybe have Ali at short and Jimmy and I and Ali hitting 2, 3, 4, or 3, 4, 5, and it would have just been
insanity.
Yeah, so.
Wow.
All right, that's very good. Now, we just got word from our producers. We're going to be heading now after commercial break to the Ocean Place Hilton for the press conference.
This is very, very exciting, this press conference.
I believe they're saying Abie Saka is he's at the strip, the landing strip, so we're going to head over there now after a commercial break. And
I see his entourage getting off the helicopter.
Right, there's Joe Eschko.
Yeah,
there's Edmund Dweck eating some kind of
LeBeau's getting off the helicopter, and finally Abie Saka.
Wait a minute,
stepping
Edmund
down.
Dweck is there eating a piece of meat, but he's not even on that team anymore, is he?
Abie Saka signing some autographs, and it looks like he's stepping up to the podium as we speak.
So we'll be back in a couple of minutes.